So Under Armour, this is the kind of, I guess at this point you could say beleaguered, right? Because this was a hot company for a decade. It was one of the best performings, popular in the foolish universe. The company was growing revenue like 20% every quarter. I think they grew it for like 220 quarters in a row, right? I mean, it was just like this crazy run of maybe it wasn't that many anyway. It was four times. No, it was like 50 quarters in a row. It was 12 years, 13 years, something like that. So it was this really long period of quarter over quarter growth. And then it just the wheels came
The wheels
off.
came off.
They really did. It's just the company like it hit some level of scale and just we got bloated and the growth slowed and competition got hot in the US. And then you saw some retail apocalypse, right? So you saw a lot of the athletic uh, Sports Authority was one, a few of those other athletic retailers that were big distributors. They went out of business. And I feel like the company made some grasps, like they signed the deal with Kohl's as a distributor to replace some of that. Kohl's is a discounter, right? They're not like TJ Maxx here, but they're kind of a discount retailer. So it just hasn't been good. But then the company announced, so they made some changes. They brought in a new CEO. Plank, their founder, has kind of been pushed back a little bit. And it looks like this new CEO is making some moves. So the stock jumped today on earnings, even though revenues continue to fall in the US. But here was the upshot. The reason revenues improved is because margins have improved. And the company has said, we're going to whittle down our retail footprint more. We're going to focus on profitability. It sounds like they're trying to reclaim the brand as a premium brand, right? And they're going to focus on their own stores. They're going to focus on e-commerce. So here's what I want to do. So I'm really doing some introspection. I think I might have sold too early. I sold sometime late last year. I thought this is a weed. I'm trimming my weeds here. I want you guys to do some over under here. Danny, you want to go first, Danny? I'm going to let you go first on
Sure.
this one since you went first since Nick went first on the last one. Over or under on Under Armour outperforming the market over the next 5 years?
I am much like you, although I had less patience than you did. I sold out of my Under Armour shares several years ago. And I think it was around the time they did the Kevin Plank, or not Kevin Plank. Anyway, they signed some big basketball player. And I thought that, I didn't like the way the metrics were going. Everything was going in the wrong direction. And instead of leaning into e-commerce and expanding e-commerce, they expanded further into physical retail. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, that is a recipe for destruction. Why would you do that? All of the data shows that customers are increasingly relying on e-commerce, and the company went the opposite direction. And that was just that was a red flag for me, and so I just bailed on it. So I would say overall, I'm still going to go with under. I don't think they've righted the ship yet. I don't think they have leaned into e-commerce the way they needed to, as soon as they needed to. So I'm going to say under.
Nick, what do you think here?
Yeah, so I'm going to say under two, maybe for a little bit different reason than Danny. I would just say, Under Armour, David Gardner has the snap test, right? If you snapped your fingers and the company disappeared, would you notice? I don't think Under Armour passes the snap test anymore. I don't mind that the brick and mortar focus or maybe emphasizing that. I think that's the way Lululemon has treated their brick and mortar store, I think has been a big differentiator for them and has helped them build their brand. I think when I think about Lululemon, that's what Under Armour should have become. Under Armour made some strategic missteps, and if they'd have followed a very similar pattern to what Lululemon had done, maybe the story is different. But I don't think Under Armour passes the snap test. If I'm going to invest in this kind of active leisure wear, I don't know why I would own Under Armour instead of Lululemon.
Yeah, I tend to fall in the same camp. I think at the end of the day, yeah, it's still growing at low double digit rates internationally. It's just so far behind in brand appeal to Nike. Nike has just proven to be this incredibly durable brand. Then you start thinking about football, soccer, so football outside of the US. Adidas is another hugely successful brand. You think about leisure wear, Puma is more interesting than Under Armour. So it's almost like it has some. I mean, there are some people that are hardcore sneaker guys that are going to buy you know, what's the basketball player, the Golden State's 3-point kid?
Stephen Curry.
Yeah, they're going to buy whatever Steph Curry's new shoe is. They're going to buy it, right? But they're also going to spend a couple $100 on LeBron James's new Nike, right? It's just, they're going to do it. I just don't think that's an addressable market that's big enough. And I think they're going to continue to have a good little business. And I think they're going to improve their margins, but I don't think they're ever going to get the leverage, the operating leverage, because I don't think they're ever going to be big enough for that operating leverage to be a market beating investment. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the under here too. I really am.
You don't think the Virgin Galactic spacesuit market is really gonna, you know, kick off this next leg of growth?
That's fantastic.